Welcome back to another video. Today we're playing Gleneagles Golf Course in West Vancouver. I've been playing here before work, and today I was meant to be with 3 other people, but no one else showed up, so I've got a round on my own, which honestly makes it easier to film. So the first hole, par 5, you've got a stream about 250 yards down, so the normal aim is to lay it up. I managed to do that with this shot, but I found myself trapped against these bushes on the right hand side. One of the things I've been working on recently is trying not to compound errors, so played pretty conservatively out onto the fairway for this. I did hit the trees, so I got pretty lucky. It could have gone a lot worse, and then I had a straightforward shot into the green, which I managed to thin beautifully. Trickled across the green, and then ended up rolling just off the back. Now, last video wasn't just for show. I have been playing a lot of pitch and putt recently with Catherine and Bryn, and so the short game around the greens has been pretty good, and today it was really on fire. With the exception of this putt, of course, but still happy with a bogey on the first hole. A good way to settle the nerves at the start of the round. Hole number 2 at Gleneagles is a beast of a par 3. 211 yards, flat, so not much respite, and here I managed to slice it right into the net that protects the road. It bounced back onto the fairway, so got fairly lucky. This chip ended up just short on the green, but about 30 foot for the par putt. Yep. 2 lip outs in the first 2 holes, but pretty happy to save a bogey here after not a fantastic first shot. You might have heard on the audio they were doing some drainage work around the second green and third tee, so temporary tee makes the hole a lot shorter. Now normally to drive to the top of the hill on this hole you need 265 yards plus carry, so this made it a bit easier, and I was looking forward to walking up where I could not find my ball to save my life. So I dropped one, took the 4th shot from here. There's no hazards or anything, I just couldn't find it. And this chip went on the green, but it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling and ended up just on the fringe at the front of the green. Even though the ball radar wasn't working on this hole, the lag putting definitely was, and this was a straightforward tap in for a double bogey. The 3rd hole at Gleneagles, on the face of it, is a pretty short par 5, but it's a dog leg hard to the right, so if you can slice one like I did here, just past the trees, you'll get a pretty easy approach shot in and be nicely on the fairway. I picked up this 7-wood off Marketplace, and it's been my go-to where the 3-iron and the 4-iron are slightly less consistent. This seems to always just manage to get it up there, although this shot was into a bunker. I've only managed to practice bunkers once this year, and that kind of showed it. Definitely need to figure out a way to get some more time in the sand, but recovered with this chip shot. Another nice easy putt in, up and down, for par. The 5th hole at Gleneagles plays from an elevated tee box to a green with 3 bunkers just behind it in case you hit it long. I thinned this shot off to the right, and the gap between my 47 degrees pitching wedge and 56 degrees sand wedge is not ideal, as overhitting it normally leads to bad shots. I played back onto the green with a pretty delicate flop shot, but it's a downhill sloping green, so it just kept rolling. Managed to clean it up with 2 putts though and walk away with a bogey. The 6th hole has a shiny new artificial tee box because the grass never used to grow in here. I wanted to fade this round the apple tree in the middle of the fairway, but ended up drawing it onto the 7th hole fairway, leaving myself with a pretty tricky chip back onto a downhill green. The 8-iron bump and run underneath the trees was a little bit too long and rolled all the way off the back of the green again, with a tricky slidey chip on a steep slope back up to the hole. Definitely happy with that chip, and then also this 6-foot putt to keep a par. Well, a pretty scrappy round so far, but the plan was to fade it up this fairway, and I absolutely nailed it down the middle, off the end of the fairway, and left myself with another chip shot from not an ideal position. I wanted to try and draw this one round the trees, and honestly, it went about as well as it could have. It did leave me with this pretty long putt, but at least there was a chance. Not my best lag putt, but another opportunity to tidy up a par. Would I get lucky again? Not this time. There's only so many times you can push your luck, and this bogey was probably fair. The 8th is another very pretty par 3, and I wanted to use the slope with the back right pin position to bring the ball back with my 9-iron. It landed perfectly where I wanted to, didn't spin that much, but always nice to execute on a plan. This is probably the nicest place for the pin on this green, and I was happy with a 2-putt to get a par. The last hole at Gleneagles is a long one, back up to the clubhouse, and it's going to take 2 big hits to make it there. With a headwind making this probably play more like 400 plus yards, I was happy to get this one in a good position for my second shot. Another decent hit with the 7-wood into the wind left me with an up and down for par from just off the green.
Right, I just forgot to fill my chip on. It was about 15 foot there in front of the green, and I just chipped it to there. So this putt's for par.
A tricky uphill putt breaking right to left was not to be. A simple tap in for bogey, and my best round ever at Gleneagles, even with the lost ball on the 3rd hole. Plenty still to go away and practice on, but happy with that. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more golf content.